in the UK. I remember in 2017 when three Muslim men went across London Bridge, slitting people's throats and shouting, "This is for Allah." And the mayor of London, and the then Prime Minister, Theresa May, came out and said that we need to address online radicalization. And then Theresa May set up somebody to look into the definition of extremism. What have they actually done in all of these years? Absolutely nothing. And
hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. Hope you are feeling good. Today we'll be checking out a video titled "Most People Have No Clue What Is Happening." Douglas Murray, terrifying warning. Wow, I believe this is going to be an interesting one. Let's check it out. Go.
The West is currently being overrun by Islamic illegal immigrants. You have illegal immigrants committing all kinds of monstrous crimes in the UK, yet the government does little about it other than to sit back and take more immigrants in. But make no mistake, the people of the UK are done playing games, and now they're taking matters into their own hands.
Murray, Douglas, let's start with the UK riots. Keir Starmer, the police, the media have all been clear who they blame for the unrest. The far right, they say, fueled by disinformation online. There's even suggestions of banning platforms like X and cracking down further on free speech. Is that the answer to what we are seeing, which are really clearly deep underlying issues in communities across the country, from places like Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, Rotherham, Middlesbrough, London, and even as far as Belfast in Northern Ireland?
Well, yes, this all started after a young man, a 17-year-old, stabbed to death three girls at a Taylor Swift-themed dance party in the town of Southport. And the sense clearly in the immediate aftermath of that, this is an observation, was that the authorities were withholding the identity of the suspect. Now, there are some reasons why they might do that, but obviously tensions locally were extremely high, feelings were extremely high, and the way to try to control the information obviously completely backfired, as you would expect it to. And that's led to these riots across city after city in the UK. It's extremely disturbing. These riots of themselves provoked counter riots where identifiably Muslim young men, some armed, have been also shown on camera attacking people in the streets. And this is really just a completely appalling, and I'm sorry to say this, completely predictable situation. Indeed, I can say it's predictable because I said exactly this sort of thing would start happening 7 years ago or so in my book, The Strange Death of Europe. It's horrible to be proved right in such circumstances because you don't want to be proved right about something like this. You want people to listen and change their policies. But, the last few days have shown the Labour government refusing to concede that there is anything other than what they call far-right violence going on. They claim that there isn't a two-tier policing system in the UK, which everybody with their own eyes can see is not the case. Clearly, there is a two-tier policing system in the UK. These areas where this has happened in, what's more, are all areas where there were riots in 2011. And as I write in The Spectator this week, one of the interesting things about that is that all of these areas are, among other things, areas where migration has continued to increase and joblessness has gone up. Now, just think of those two factors, anyone watching. You keep forcing immigration onto these areas, and you do nothing to improve the lot in these areas. Of course, nobody should be on the streets. The unbelievable hooliganism and thuggery of recent days should repel everybody. But, very often when there is some kind of violence or unrest, we hear political leaders and the wise heads in the commentariat saying we need to address underlying causes. Why has nobody said that in recent days?
How would you feel if your own government cared more about illegal immigrants who are destroying your home than your country's own native people? You probably wouldn't like that. Well, that's what's happening right now in the UK. As we speak, there are illegal Muslim immigrants wreaking havoc in the UK. And when the people of the UK have finally had enough with the imposters who hate their country, the government decides to blame the problem on social media platforms like X instead of on the illegal immigrants or often extremists that they're allowing into their country. They have ignored the countless violent crimes committed by the extremist immigrants who they allow into their country. This is not just a case of misfortune, but severe incompetence by the leaders of these Western national powerhouses like the UK.
Now, there are various segments of the left in the UK blaming X, formerly Twitter, for inciting violence. But Douglas, it's one of the few places where you can see what is happening on the ground without that media spin.
That's right, Rita. I mean, I've just seen a report from another so-called mainstream channel in the UK, where the quite clearly the journalists are trying not to reveal part of the story. What they're trying not to reveal is what they call Asian men in the area intimidating and harassing journalists. Well, these aren't, once again, you get back to the endless euphemism and lying that is just prevalent across our media. These are not, Hong Kong residents who have decided to go out and threaten people. They are, regrettably, organized Muslim groups. And, they're being whipped up by people, presumably in their community, but also by left-wing and other activists, obviously by the people on the street as well, to come out in force. Now, the idea that the answer to that is to crack down on Twitter, X, is an absolute case study of the failure of the political class in the UK. I remember in 2017, when 3 Muslim men went across London Bridge, slitting people's throats and shouting, "This is for Allah." And the mayor of London and the then Prime Minister, Theresa May, came out and said that we need to address online radicalization. And then Theresa May set up somebody to look into the definition of extremism. What have they actually done in all of these years? Absolutely nothing. And it'll be the same with this. They'll lock some people up, and they will demonize all sorts of people, and they'll cover for others, but they will do nothing to address this. The British public have been begging for years for consecutive governments to bring down immigration and to increase opportunities in the UK. Not only were they not listened to, they were reviled, insulted, and much more. And it also needs to be said, each of the towns in which these awful riots have been occurring are all places that are resonant with huge crimes that were covered up by almost everybody in authority. I'm thinking of what are called the grooming gangs, but are the rape gangs, which struck in Rotherham, in Rochdale, in town after town, whose names are back in the news now. And obviously there's no excuse for the rioting. Why does nobody in government, and a Labour government at that, not listen to these people, at least find out what has gone so badly wrong in these areas, that reports of who carried out this atrocity in Southport at the dance class for children, that could ignite a country? It doesn't suggest to me that the country is in a healthy state.
Wow, what an interesting speech, what an interesting interaction with Douglas Murray. Just by the title, most people have no clue what is happening. Douglas Murray, terrifying warning. Wow. We all know Douglas have been talking about this problem of mass immigration, problem of multiculturalism, and Douglas always say you have no right not to be offended. The fact that you are living in a society where there is 2 or more people, you have no right not to be offended. By all means, someone is going to say something to offend you, and you don't have to pick offense or try to approach it in a violent way. There are better ways of addressing those issues. We all know the British people, they promote freedom of speech, they promote freedom of expression, they promote multiculturalism. But when you are not okay with something, you don't have to approach such things with violence. There are better ways to address such situation. If you are not okay with something, you can either organize a peaceful protest or dialogue with the person to try to express your grievance instead of you approaching it in a violent way. And we all understand the fact that immigration, people coming into a country can bring a lot of economic value to the host country if well managed, and at the same time can bring a lot of harm to the host country if not properly managed. Because in the situation whereby a lot of people are coming into a location, a lot of people are coming into the country and they are not properly managed, and the facility in that place is not enough to accommodate the people, at the end of the day it might cause a lot of problem. I believe that is one of the problem the people are facing right now. That's why you see the indigenous people, the locals, they are all coming out to express their grievance as a result of a lot of people coming into their country, coming into a location, stressing the facility that have been made for few numbers of people, and the government is not doing anything to manage the situation. I believe that is why the locals and the indigenous people are trying to express their grievance. And we all understand that the fact that you are coming into a country as an immigrant, you have to be able to adjust yourself to accommodate the people's culture, to accommodate the people's tradition, to accommodate the people's value system. Because we all understand that the British people has its own identity, and their identity is rooted in their culture, is rooted in their tradition, is rooted in their value system. So you coming into the country, you have to be able to adjust yourself in order to be able to accommodate the people's culture, and you'll be able to integrate in an effective way in order to bring economic value to the host country. And for the major problem about the illegal immigrants that came into the country and killed about 3 female dancers, about the government holding the information, and a lot of false information have been circulating on social media. And I think just yesterday I was watching a video where Piers Morgan was interviewing Andrew Tete about the wrong information it was circulating online, that the illegal immigrant that killed the 3 dancers, that it came into the country illegally with boats holding he came into the country illegally with boats, and is a Muslim. And from what Piers Morgan was trying to say in the video, he said the killer is not a Muslim, and at the same time the killer is not an illegal immigrant. So a lot of false information have been circulating on the media, and a lot of people, when they see this information without doing proper research, they tend to act on it, and as a result of it, it brings a lot of problem. I believe the government should come up with a policy to better manage immigrants in order to be able to help them integrate effectively and provide better living conditions, so the locals and the indigenous people are not going to try to express their grievance or take it on the immigrant, because they feel that the government are using their taxes to fund the immigrants, and at the end of the day they are not getting value for their money. So I've really learned a lot just listening to Douglas speak. As we all know, Douglas is someone that is very articulated. He always stands by the truth and is always ready to say the truth. So we'd like to hear your comments. What do you think about the facts and the points that Douglas have stated in this video? Let's get the conversation rolling. Don't forget, click on the subscribe button, click on the like button. Do have a nice day.
Yeah.